The military made its move in the early hours of the morning, detaining Myanmar's democratically elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi and other senior figures from the ruling party. Suu Kyi's NLD government won November's election by a landslide, but accusations of electoral fraud led to tension between the civilian government and the military.
What my sense is that the hardliners have the upper hand in the internal military struggles, but also that they've gone back to their Chinese sponsors and said, look, this is where we're thinking of going with this. And the Chinese government, which is not inclined to support democracy, has said, you have our backing.
The political crisis began last Tuesday when a military spokesman refused to rule out the possibility of a coup. The following day, Myanmar's military chief stoked fears when he said the constitution should be repealed if it was not abided by.
Artur Palma and his assistant are taking no chances in this funeral parlor that he runs in Lisbon. They're handling the body of an elderly resident who just died from coronavirus. Palma says he visits nursing homes up to 4 times a week to pick up bodies of those killed by COVID-19. More than 12,000 people have died so far in Portugal, half of them since the beginning of January. Portugal is currently the hardest hit country in the world in proportion to its population. On top of a nationwide lockdown, Portugal has shut its borders with Spain, and for 2 weeks, no Portuguese citizen can travel abroad except in special cases. Portugal's hospitals are severely strained, with its health ministry warning there are only a few intensive care beds left on the mainland. Some patients have been airlifted to the island of Madeira to ease the pressure.
One million doses of the Astrazeneca Oxford vaccine due to arrive in South Africa today, that is Monday, with another 500,000 shots arriving later this month. Now this is all well and good, but the opposition and some public health experts have said it has simply taken the government far too long in the procurement process of this vaccine. Now that the vaccine is arriving in the country, there are going to be 2 weeks of quality control before it is generally rolled out across the population, beginning with frontline health workers. In worrying news over the weekend, yet more preliminary evidence has come in suggesting that vaccination against the South African variant of the virus, or the variant of the virus discovered here in South Africa, could be less effective because of that new strain's ability to evade antibodies.
At least a dozen people died after 2 boats sunk off the coast of Colombia, 7 of whom were children. That's according to a Colombian naval official on Sunday. Admiral Jose David Espita told Reuters the vessels sank on Saturday near Tumaco, Colombia's second most important Pacific port, and that the cause was still under investigation. According to local officials, the 2 vessels were filled with passengers when they set off from Tumaco towards San Jose del Guayabo in Costa Rica. Espita said none of the deceased were wearing life jackets. He added that it was unclear how many passengers remained missing, but that local residents and fishermen had saved 36 people so far.
That's the news about a statement issued a short while ago by the former President Jacob Zuma, defying a constitutional order that was delivered last week, saying he will not cooperate with the State Capture Commission, and saying that he's not afraid to be arrested, convicted, or imprisoned. And then he also alleges that the Constitutional Court has been politicized. What's your reaction? Do you agree with your father? Let's just begin there.
Yes, fortunately or unfortunately, I do agree with the former president statement, and it's unfortunate that it has to come to this. Clearly, the courts of this country have an issue with the former president.
In October last year, that caused consternation at home and abroad. President Macron outlined a proposed new law tackling what he called separatism, aimed at those he thought were undermining the state. It was the mentions of Islam in the speech that caused the law to be seen as an attack on the Muslim community of France, something the government denied. They say they're defending the egalitarian values of the Republic, but that wasn't accepted by all. Protesters took to the streets to make their voices heard. Not only in France, but across the Muslim world, where there were widespread demonstrations and a call for a boycott of French goods from the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The French government may have dampened the outrage. The law being discussed this week has been significantly reworded. Neither the word Islam nor Muslim are named in the text, made up of some 50 articles.
Australia's leader says Microsoft is confident its search engine Bing can fill the gap left by Google if Google pulls out of the country. Australia introduced laws that would force tech giants to negotiate payments with Australian media outlets whose content drives traffic to their platforms. Both Facebook and Google have called the laws unreasonable, and last month they threatened to pull key services from Australia if the regulations went ahead. Google said they would withdraw their search engine, which according to industry data accounts for 94% of the country's search market. Bing is a distant number 2 in the market. Microsoft told Reuters that its CEO, Satya Nadella, has since spoken with Prime Minister Scott Morrison.
Barcelona is threatening legal action against a Spanish newspaper for publishing details of Lionel Messi's most recent contract with the football club. According to El Mundo, the Argentinian's deal with Barca is worth up to €550 million over 4 seasons. It was signed in 2017. On its official website, the club said it denies any responsibility for the publication of the document and will take appropriate legal action against the newspaper for any damage that may be caused as a result of the publication. On the streets of Barcelona, there was criticism of the amount of money involved, but also some understanding of the player's worth. Messi's contract is believed to be the most expensive ever agreed with an athlete in any sport, and he would have to pay around half of that in tax. The report claims he's already secured more than €510 million in revenue for the club.